A strong case to restore Section 8(4) of the RP Act. So RP Act here means the Representation of People Act. So we have seen that recently Rahul Gandhi was disqualified as a member of the parliament based on a particular case that happened in 2019. It was related with the defamation. Rahul Gandhi was convicted and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment in that particular case. So that's why that disqualification happened, and later the apex court has stayed that particular order. Based on this particular article, we need to understand certain constitutional matters as well as the Representation of People Act aspects that are connected with the disqualification of a member. So let us try to understand more about this. First, we will let us know what is there in Representation of People Act connected with the disqualification of the members. So here you can see that there are certain provisions that are connected with the disqualification under the Representation of People Act. Section 8 of the RPA, that is Representation of People Act, deals with disqualification for conviction of certain offences. So in Section 8(1)(a), you can see that certain specific offences such as promoting enmity between two groups, bribery, undue influence or personation at an election. So these are the offences that they are actually taking into consideration in Section 8(1). And in Section 8(2)(a), you can see that it lists offences that deals with hoarding or profiteering, adulteration of food or drugs, and for conviction and sentence of at least 6 months for an offence under any provisions of the Dowry Prohibition Act. So the first thing that is coming is the hoarding or profiteering, then the adulteration of the food, and then the Dowry Prohibition Act matters also coming into picture in Section 8(2). And Section 8(3), which becomes a point of discussion in the article also, in that it says that it disqualifies a convicted person who has been sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 2 years. Okay, so that's a point which is actually connected with the conviction of Rahul Gandhi also. So he is disqualified from the date of such conviction and shall continue to be disqualified for further period of 6 years since his release. So that was the point. Okay, this particular section is the one that you can actually connect with the Rahul Gandhi's disqualification. Okay, then Section 9 talks about the disqualification for dismissal of corruption or disloyalty. Then Section 9(a) deals with the disqualification for government contracts, etc. Section 10 talks about the disqualification for office under government company. Then Section 10(a) talks about the disqualification for failure to lodge account of the election expenses. Then Section 11 talks about removal or reduction of period of disqualification, and Section 11(a) disqualification arising out of conviction and corrupt practices. Then Section 11(b) talks about the removal of disqualification. So basically these are the main provisions in Representation of People Act that is connected with the disqualification. So when you compare it with the article that we have seen before, this particular section, that is Section 3(a), becomes very important. So apart from Section 3(a), we can see that some other the constitutional aspects also discussed in the article. So let us see what are the constitutional articles that are connected with the disqualification of members. So Article 102 of the Indian Constitution talks about the disqualification for membership. Basically, Article 102 is coming under Part 5 of the Indian Constitution. A person shall be disqualified for being chosen as for being a member of the House of the Parliament. So what are the ways or what are the different reasons why a person is disqualified as a member of the Parliament? Let us see that. If he holds any office of profit under the Government of India or the Government of any state other than an office declared by Parliament by law, not to disqualify its holder. Okay, so one is the office of profit under the Government of India and office of profit under the Government of any state. And if he is of unsound mind and stands so declared by a competent court, so then also a person can be disqualified. If he is an undischarged insolvent, if he is not a citizen of India or has voluntarily acquired the citizenship of a foreign state or is under any acknowledgement of allegiance or adherence to a foreign state. So this is an important concept connected with the citizenship aspect. Okay, and you can lose your membership status if you are actually acquiring the citizenship of another country. If he is so disqualified by or under any law made by the parliament. So here comes the important aspect related with the Rahul Gandhi's case. For explanation, for the purposes of this clause, a person shall not be deemed to hold an office of profit under the government of India or the government of any state by reason only that he is a minister either for the union or for the such state. Okay, so basically, if he is a minister also, okay, then he will also lose the status as a member of the parliament. Okay, then another important point that is connected with Article 102 is a person shall be disqualified for being a member of either house of the parliament if he is so disqualified under 10th schedule. So we know that 10th schedule deals with the anti-defection. So if a person is actually found to be guilty of anti-defection or defection aspects, then that person also can be disqualified on this ground. So 102 clearly talks about the disqualification of a member. Then Article 103 is also talking about the disqualification aspects, but it is on a different level that you can see. If any question arises as to whether a member of either House of Parliament has become subject to any of the disqualification mentioned in the clause 1 of Article 102, the question shall be referred for the decision of the President and his decision shall be final. Very, very important. So if there is a question related to the disqualification of a member based on Article 102.1 clauses, we have discussed about some clauses in Article 102.1. If there is any question related to that, who is the final authority to make a decision on that? It is the President of India has the final say in that particular aspect. Before giving any decision on any such question, okay, very, very important, in any such question, the President shall obtain the opinion of the Election Commission and shall act according to such opinion. Because we know that the most important or significant institution that is presently in India or which is related with the election aspects is the Election Commission of India. Okay, so Election Commission of India is a constitutional body also. So if there is any question or confusion regarding that, then the President shall obtain the opinion of the Election Commission. So this is regarding part 5 of the Indian Constitution, which generally talks about the union aspects, and in the state aspects also the same provisions are covered, but that is in another article that is coming under part 6 of the Constitution, that is the state administration. So the Article 191 of the Indian Constitution talks about the disqualification for membership. So let us understand what are the different things mentioned in that. A person shall be disqualified for being chosen and for being a member of the Legislative Assembly or Legislative Council. Both things are mentioned here. So when you are actually talking about Parliament, which means the member of the Lok Sabha, member of the Rajya Sabha. So here the Legislative Assembly as well as the Legislative Council. If he holds any office of profit under the Government of India or the Government of a state specified in the first schedule, other than that an office declared by the legislature of the state by law, not to disqualify its holder. So the same points that we have covered in the Article 102 also. And if he is of unsound mind and stands so declared by a competent court, and if he is an undischarged insolvent, then if he is not a citizen of India or has voluntarily acquired the citizenship of a foreign state or is under any acknowledgement of allegiance or adherence to a foreign state, if he is so disqualified or under any law made by the Parliament, an explanation is given here. So this is an explanation for that. So we have already read that in the last article also. The explanation: for the purposes of this clause, a person shall not be deemed to hold an office of profit under the Government of India or the Government of any state specified in first schedule by reason only that he is a minister either for the union or for the state. Okay, we discussed about it. And then the last point is a person shall be disqualified for being a member of the legislative assembly or legislative council of a state if he is so disqualified under the 10th schedule. Again, the 10th schedule deals with the anti-defection law. Okay, so these are the important aspects that are connected with the disqualification of a member. So why we discuss this point is mainly connected with the article that came in the Hindu newspaper. Okay, so we have seen that, okay, in Representation of People Act, what are the important elements connected with disqualification of a member? In Article 102, what are the important elements connected with that? In Article 103 and in Article 191, what are the important provisions concerning the disqualification for membership?